Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it's the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only, aka Pookie, Mr. LB and Kane with the game, and today we're here to talk about this situation. Now, in this situation, I thought I'd never talk about this. I ain't gonna lie, I thought I'd never come here and talk about this. It's a very heavy topic, and it's something that I really want to address, and it's something that I need to get off my chest about because it's something that I used to go through. Now that I'm found and I talk to God every single day, I don't go through this anymore. You know, I'm going through the healing process, and it's safe to say that I'm doing good. I'm doing way better in this past year than I ever been through, like, the past decade. So, you know, big thumbs up to me. Clap it up. Clap it, everybody. Clap it up, everybody. Clap it up. Clap it up. Now let's get back with this real shit, right? So, back in the days when I was younger, in my adolescence, I struggled with depression a lot. I was lost. I didn't know who I was, you know? When I was in school, I got bullied a lot. You know, I didn't have a lot of friends. You know, I tried, by going into different groups. You know, I didn't relate to none of them. You know, I even stuck with one friend, that nobody really liked. And we were cool for a while, but after we graduated, we kind of separated, but that's neither here or there. So I struggled with depression a lot, It was a lot of things that built it up. It was a lot of things that really, really built it up. My mom and dad's divorce. That was kind of the start of everything, and I didn't really understand why my dad was doing the things that he was doing, but I was crying a lot. I was going through it. I was depressed. Oh boy. And then me getting bullied wasn't really helping at all. So with that was kind of like the cherry on top of the cake. And it got me thinking about suicide. Now, what I really want to talk about is my suicide attempt. Yeah. When I was in school, I was thinking about suicide, and my teacher was so scared out of her mind that she let my mother know, she let my father know. It was crazy, That's when I began to take therapy. I thought that didn't really help, but, to each his own. So after that, it just didn't really help, I was still thinking about suicide. I was still thinking about taking myself off the map. So years and years gone by. This was in Brooklyn, by the way. So now I'm moving into Charlotte. Now I'm really depressed. Now I'm really thinking about suicide. Now I'm really starting to hate myself. And it just wasn't really good for me. It really, really wasn't good for me. I was listening to emo artists that I really related to, that was talking about suicide and heartbreak and depression. I was listening to a lot of XXX Tentacion. Rest in peace to that brother. I was listening to a lot of Juice World, and it did more damage to my life back then because they were talking about it and I really related to it, but it really didn't help. It really didn't help because it made me want to unalive myself even more. It really made me depressed and sad a little more. Now, don't get me wrong. XXX Tentacion, he's still, to this day, for the rest of my life, one of my favorite artists of all time. That man really, he shaped my childhood into what it is. He really helped my childhood. Even though the music did damage, it helped me. I ain't gonna lie, it helped me in a way. So I appreciate that brother's music. it's a shame that he passed away the way that he did, and it really sucks that I didn't meet him, but you know, rest in peace to that brother. Once again, one of my favorite artists of all time. Even though it didn't help, but it helped. And I'm talking about the music. Now let's get back with this, right? Yeah, for years on end, it was just really bad for me. My mental was at an all-time low. So it all led to me when I was 19. I was 19 years old. I got my first job. You know, I really wanted to be successful. I really wanted to be somebody in life. And I was very adamant. And even to this day, I'm still content on, you know, working and elevating and growing and evolving. But when I was 19, man, you know, with just $1 and a dream, you know, I'm talking about like, it was bad. It was so bad. Now, one night when I came home from work, I was crying. I was sad. I was just like, fuck life, you know? I was like, fuck this shit. Like, I'm working a warehouse job. You know, I'm trying to be successful. I'm trying to make my mom proud. I'm trying to make my sister proud. I'm trying to make my brother proud. You know, I've been depressed for too long. I'm working a warehouse job. I really don't like that shit. My mental is at an all-time low. I don't know what to really do with myself. You know, after years of listening to music that talks about suicide, you know, I'm gonna keep it a buck, and I think I never really told y'all this before, but the first song that I really heard that was talking about suicide that I really related to was Suicidal Thoughts by Biggie Smalls. Now, the Notorious B.I.G., that was another artist that one of my favorite rappers, one of my favorite artists of all time. And he's from where I'm from, Brooklyn, New York. So to hear him talk about suicidal thoughts and to see how he was portrayed as a gangster, just talking about this, I was like, wow. Like, I really like this. Like, I'm jacking him. Now I'm really fucking with his music, you know? And it made me a huge supporter of his music. Just that one song alone. Now, I listen to other songs. I listen to the full album, you know, the Ready to Die album, classic. But that song really made me, like, understand things from a different perspective. Now, it all happened at 19 years old when I came back from work. I told y'all I was sad, depressed, all of that. So it all came full circle when I grabbed the knife. I took the knife out of the kitchen, and that was when I decided, you know what, fuck this. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna do it. So I stuck the knife right in my stomach. I pierced it right in my stomach. And I was like, bro, do it. The flesh told me do it, but the spirit said stop. Don't do it, Matthew. Don't do it, LBN. Don't do it. Stuck it right in my stomach. And I was crying. I was like, yo, this is how it's gonna end. You know, I didn't think about my mother's feelings. I didn't think about my sister's feelings. I didn't think about my brother's feelings. I didn't think about my other family members' feelings. I didn't think about none of that shit. I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take that knife. I'm gonna pierce it in my stomach, and I'm just gonna call it a day. Take me out of my misery. But then I realized I was too scared to do it. I couldn't do it. So I ended up not doing it, and I'm still alive to this very day. And I'm very blessed that I'm here.